Today we're here with Andrew Shea, former CEO of Builders Academy Australia and recently managing partner of Tesserent.
Great to be with you, Rosie.
Thank you for joining. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is the three kind of key learnings that you've taken from scaling Builders Academy. Like what are the kind of main focuses that you think people in your role should be looking at?
After 8 years in the business, going from an internal division, so we originally were within the Simmons Group, so Simmons Homes, one of the largest volume home builders, and we're an internal training division, and then sort of looked at it and said, how do we become agnostic and train the broader community? And how do we actually take advantage of the demand-driven opportunities in the market? And the lessons I guess I've learnt from that is being really clear on what is your differentiator. So, and that needs to be lived internally. So that needs to be in staff inductions, that need to be almost an elevator pitch on what differentiates us from our competitors. And that takes an ability to get your head up off the desk and look out in the industry and say, what is the actual driver? What's the aspiration? What's the goal of those who wish to buy from us? And how do we reverse engineer that into an offering? And that needs to be lived and breathed in everything you do. That's posters on the wall, that's slogans in the business, that's sort of hashtags, that's everything you do that you can genuinely deliver on what you know is the driving force behind what will be your success.
Love it. One of the things that we often kind of get asked about is kind of like measuring the ROI of marketing activity. You know, should people work with us, but also kind of like how do marketing managers or general managers kind of report back up that ROI? Like what have been some of the key things that you've looked for and kind of measured along the last 8 years?
Well, I think it's, and I'm sure you'll be sick of hearing me say this after many years of working together, I'm not a fan of focusing on glamour metrics of how many impressions or where it could have been viewed on a page. Everything from a marketing spend must come from what was the bum on seat, who was the real person that generated revenue that we could support towards their career aspiration success. And then say, well, what did that cost us? And then what did each step back from that cost us to be able to streamline and get efficiencies along that journey? So I think that it's really important when looking at return on investment. The investment can only be measured against the actual revenue generation, not against the feel-good component. I'm always hesitant. We do above-the-line spend in radio, in billboards, in TV. It's so hard to track, right? You've almost got to have faith and trust that will get more eyes on those measurable aspects of landing pages and click-throughs and specific leads. The return has to be quantifiable and very easily seen and tracked as well. So I can, through social guidance, through reports being provided, I can see the exact cost per lead and the exact cost per acquisition for every month over the last 5 years. I can actually see it every week. It also is really insightful to me in consumer behaviour, consumer confidence and buying activity, because the question when you have a look at that change in cost per lead is it us? Is it them? What's the meshing market? Do we need to run some more focus groups? You got to listen to them. So it's the customer voice, it's the student voice that dictates the journey towards their success, and we need to then be part of that solution and help them on that journey.
I think that's one thing that's been lacking a little bit when I've been speaking to like prospective clients of ours is the key messaging, the unique selling points is often being driven by like a marketing team, and it's been like the same one for 4 or 5 years. And I think definitely incorporating kind of more of those checkpoints, whether it's through focus groups or whether it's through like the production of like UGC and kind of hearing like what students actually care about. Like I think that needs to be reassessed more frequently than what it's been currently. My last question for you, which is a little bit of a like sneaky one, but how do you think that RTOs can kind of compete against the TAFE and the free TAFE kind of messaging out there at the moment?
Sure. So I'm an independent sector representative. I'm very passionate about that and an ambassador for the important role the independent sector plays. I've also worked at 3 TAFEs, and TAFEs overarchingly do a fantastic job. They've got passionate educators and they're genuine in helping students along their journey. So I'm not in any way taking away from the great work that TAFE does. The National Centre of Vocational Education Research has released the data from last year, and it actually showed despite free TAFE, despite government heavily motivating individuals to choose TAFE as their provider of choice, the market share actually declined year on year to one of the lowest it's ever had. And the reason for that is that customers, including students, will choose a provider that helps them get to the solution that they're intending, with money only being one of the buying factors. If you can actually demonstrate really clearly the value, and you talked about user-generated content, If you can show genuinely how you've helped people on that journey, genuinely the outcomes being achieved, people are willing to make that investment. You don't want a student who only wants to study with you because it's free. That's a disconnect from the intrinsic value of education and the genuine value to people's lives that can actually result in. So what I would say is having genuinely the ability to tell your story and the value you can offer and what differentiates you as an education provider to take someone on that journey and help them meet their aspirations and goals, that should be the key messaging. What's your story? What can you hand on heart stand by that you are proud of? And the customers will feel that pride in your content, particularly where it's your own staff, where it's your own students telling about that journey and allowing people to see inside the tent and get a feel for the experience they'll get if they make that decision to invest in studying with your organisation. Yeah,
I love that. I think when we speak to RTOs, sometimes it's kind of like, well, I can buy leads for $50 through a lead generator, or it could be, I'm currently getting $30 cost per lead, so you must meet that. But what we've found is, if you're going with just the free messaging, you might get thousands of leads, but the quality of them isn't very high and people aren't going to convert. So I kind of love that you're on the same page there. I'm going to wrap it up here. Okay. I wish you all the best for your new role at Tesserent. Looking forward to kind of seeing how you scale that in the same way you've been able to scale Builders Academy. But thank you very much.
Thank you, and looking forward to continuing to work with Social Garden even in my new role, because I have complete confidence and success we'll be able to achieve together.
Yes, we got it on camera.
Thanks, Rosie.
Cool. Nailed it.